Hey guys, welcome to the Captain Fish and Mask Guy show. Tonight we are going to talk, of course, about Gotham, the premiere of Supergirl. Woo! And of course, that Mask Guy is back in studio from Minneapolis.
Holla!
So, we're going to play some music and we're going to get right back into our most action-packed show ever.
Hey guys, welcome to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy show. As always, I am that Mask Guy. We're kind of doing things in reverse here, and of course, with me, as always,
Captain Fizz.
So you know what? Hey, you know what? I'm back in the Seventh Moon of Thunder. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but you know what? I am back.
Well, technically, you are not back in the Seventh Moon of Thunder. What you don't realize is I swapped it out with the 8th.
I was wondering why it looks so different.
I know,
I'm telling you, I thought it was just the jet lag from Minnesota.
Yeah, no. It is now the 8th Moon of Thunder.
I want the sense back, man.
I have changed the name of Thunder. It is no longer Thunder. It is Captain Underpants.
That's actually a pretty good comic series,
yeah,
man.
It's the 8th moon of Captain Underpants.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. We'll talk to the planetary leaders on that one.
They all agreed.
Yeah, I'm sure they
did. I threatened to throw him in Saturn. So yeah, last night was the premiere of Supergirl. We're gonna jump right into the main event.
The main event.
Supergirl.
Supergirl. Yeah.
I personally wasn't 100% sold on it. First episode, I don't think anyone really ever is completely 100% sold on it. But it definitely had potential. It had excitement. I was jumping for joy at the fight scene. It was a wicked fight scene.
It was pretty darn good.
Yeah, but the villain reminded me of a tweaked out... I can't remember his name now. Superman's villain, Lex Luthor. A tweaked out Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I don't know. Of course, I mean, we're going to have some similarities between Supergirl and Smallville, which was on the air for 10 seasons, as well as, of course, other Superman, movies, and, of course, the Supergirl movie, which, incidentally... Helen Slater actually plays Kira's foster mom in the series, and she played Supergirl in that movie back in the 1980s.
Yes, it definitely resembled a lot of Smallville, which I will admit I watched the very first episode and then turned off. I'm not a Superman fan. I will not, go out there and, say that I like Superman. I think Superman's been overdone, overblown, and overused.
Well, you know what? It's hard to argue with that, but I mean, there is no other superhero who's quite as iconic as Superman. This is now, pardon me if I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen, but I believe this is the, Superman's had at least 3, possibly 4 television series over the last 100 years. This is the first time that they have tried to do Supergirl in a series, although Kira, the character, did appear in the last few seasons of Smallville.
Yeah, and I definitely think they did, pretty decent on the first episode. And as I said, first episode really doesn't say much. It just sets it up. The rest of the season will definitely show whether or not it can continue on a long-term basis, or if it's going to end up being a one-time thing and just, plummet down the well.
Well, who knows? Anyways, I was doing a little bit of research, which is, come on, that's a pretty amazing thing for me to actually do.
We do research?
Well, occasionally I do. And you know what? I can't say I really did research. I stumbled across this and figured I better jot it down while...
And here I thought we came to the studio and the little magic elves wrote it all out for us.
Yeah, no. We went off and we just, hired ourselves a bit of a social media, specialist. Who am I kidding? It's one of our producers. He's went off and taken over the social media aspect of the show because the other one just didn't feel like doing it.
Captain Fizz spends way too much time focusing on the show and other things, and it's Comic-Con weekend.
Why are you talking about yourself in the third person again?
Because I have split my personality. I am now Captain Fizz the host and Captain Fizz the producer, and occasionally I'm Captain Fizz the idiot.
Okay then. Anyways, overnight, the overnight ratings was a 3.2, which is pretty good
for an opening show. That's actually pretty damn decent.
And it did 12.9 million viewers.
Now,
which makes it the best premiere for the fall 2015 season so far.
Does that take into account people like me who were too busy watching Gotham, so we're PVRing Supergirl?
I'm guessing this is just live. I don't know if they can actually keep track of PVR.
Then that number is, ridiculously higher. So, that just goes to show how many people anticipated Supergirl starting.
There you go, man.
You know what? Words do not come to me. I am a magician.
You are a magician. Magicians have to go off and be able to tell a story. So, come on. You work on it, man.
Stumbling magician. There you go.
There you go, man. But, I thought it was quite interesting. Of course, Dean Cain, who was from the Adventures of Lois and Clark. Of course, he plays Jeremiah Danvers, who's Kira's father on the show. What's interesting is that Laura Beninati, I believe that's her name, excuse me, she plays both Allura, who is Kira's actual mother, as well as Astra, who is going to be the big baddie of the series, who is Kira's aunt.
Yes.
And I guess would make her, the twin sister of her mother. I don't know. It's
definitely a very interesting, scenario. As I said, I was definitely very, happy to see the fight scene. Not so much because it was a fight scene, which is always exciting, but it wasn't the best fight scene. This was her first real fight, and it went exactly how you expected it to, and that was her getting pummeled pretty, often until finally defeats the guy because,
she outsmarts him.
She outsmarts him, and then he kills himself.
Yeah, he killed. Which I kind of get the feeling that what we're going to see is something that has happened so often in the superhero television genre, where we're going to have the villain of the week.
Yes, I really don't foresee that with this, especially since the aunt is there. I think, honestly, she is the main villain. She has her goons. I think you'll see a goon of the week.
Well, that's just it. That's what I mean. We're going to, goons, villains, whatever. That's what we're going to see. It was something that Smallville, did for the first season with all their Green Rock, everyone who had been affected by the Green Rocks, the Kryptonite in the first season. I'm saying Green Rocks because they didn't even know what to call it until I think about the third or fourth season.
Yeah, even though we all knew.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're going to see a lot of that. One thing I'm kind of interested, I believe his name is Mekad Brooks. I'm sorry, the guy who plays James Olsen on this series. What do you think of James Olsen?
I'm sorry, it's Jimmy Olsen. I don't care what he tries to say. It has always been and will always be Jimmy Olsen.
Well, he's calling himself James Olsen because apparently only the big guy and his mama could go off and call him Jimmy.
Well, I don't care. I am calling him Jimmy Olsen because that's all we've ever referred to him as, and that's what he's going to stay as.
So I guess here is, Jimmy Olsen has went from being a geeky white guy to a, pretty, I don't know.
He's a geeky, cool black guy, which I honestly, I think it's definitely...
He looks like this guy belongs, on the basketball court or something. He looks like an athlete, and Jimmy Olsen has never, come across as being, a jock.
No, and I definitely agree. It is a very, a different Jimmy Olsen, but I can't complain. I think, honestly, it's nice to see. It's kind of potentially a possible love interest between...
I think that's really why they went off and went this aspect. I don't have any problem whatsoever with, a black James Olsen, if you will. I'm thinking that, some level, there might be a bit of a backlash with the hardcore fans.
See, honestly, as I'm watching the episode, I had actually forgotten that Jimmy Olsen wasn't black. He played the character so perfectly and so much to a T that you almost forgot every single Jimmy Olsen that came before of, who they were, what their character type was, and all that stuff. It meshed perfectly.
You know what? And I absolutely kind of agree. And that's what they really need to do. They need to go off and set themselves. He has to set himself, aside from all the other Jimmy Olsens, that have come before him. And some of them have been, absolutely fantastic actors.
Oh, phenomenal ones.
What I'm interested is I went off and I was doing the names, checking out the names for a lot of these characters and the people that played the roles, and I don't really know, any of them. Now, Melissa, I'm just gonna say the girl Melissa who plays Kira. I don't like it when I mispronounce people's last names. She's best known for roles in Glee and in Whiplash.
Yes, neither of which I have seen. For obvious reasons.
I went off and I've sat through a couple episodes of Glee. I'm not afraid to go off and to admit that, even though I didn't really like it. But I'm looking through most of the other, minus Dean Cain and Helen Slater and Calista Flockhart, who plays Cat Grant. I don't recognize the names of any of these other actors, which isn't a big deal. They're all younger actors anyways. But this really feels like it's the big breakout for almost all of them.
Yeah, see, the one thing I did not like was kind of the storyline. And, and this isn't an acting issue. This was a script issue that I have is, I'm okay with her revealing herself and, saving the plane. That's okay. What I didn't like was her so easily revealing that she can fly to one of her coworkers.
I think, of course, you're going off and you're referring to Wynn Scott, who is her best friend there at work. And I think she needed, a confidant to go off and to talk to. And, at that point, her sister, Alex, just was kind of trying to tell her, no, don't use your powers. You gotta just be a regular person. And so she needed to find someone who was going to be supportive. And Wynn is just an absolute geek. And so he would absolutely love this sort of thing. So I can understand her going up and doing this with him.
I understand, but at the same point, like the very first episode, your very first time using your powers, and you immediately, reveal yourself to someone else. And it just did not seem like it was the perfect timing.
I don't know. I think what you want to do is you want to plunge in with both feet. They need to make an impact on this, and I think they're going to have so much more that they can do with this, with him knowing her powers. Now she's got both Wynn and Jimmy, and you can see it. Wynn is kind of pining after Kara. And so I think, he could possibly be a love interest of her if he could ever get out of the friend zone.
See, and I agree to a point. I think, honestly, with Wynn, what would have been a better storyline would not so much if she had revealed her powers to him, but if he,